Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if it's your first time, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on some big future content. Today we're going to start a series on helicopter tactics and techniques, so as always, sit back and enjoy the flight.
Alright, 2, if you want to reposition, move forward.
Roger, stand. This is Anzac 173, you are cleared on 1 Kilo 2 Alpha on these two individuals, BID.
That was quite a bit of fire there.
Today, Viking and I are in the KA-50. It best represents a modern combat helicopter, with regards to sensor packages, weapons, and overall simplicity of flight.
Rifle.
My goal is to hit the wave tops on this discussion, but maybe we can dive deeper later in another video. We're going to be taking a look at reconnaissance tasks against a peer or near-peer adversary. The two main issues I want to address are mission analysis and the tempo of operations. A good conversation about mission analysis can be reverse engineered into some good mission design for you and your friends or even solo play. Mission analysis starts with some information. What is the enemy's projected composition? What are they defending and roughly where? With all the intelligence capabilities out there these days, you should have a rough idea of what you're facing and where it is. Go east and find bad guys isn't really how things are done. Once we decide where the enemy wants to defend and with what forces, we can start assessing how they've arrayed those forces on the terrain and where they have pushed guys out to secure themselves. Someone out front to give them a heads up to let them know when the bad guys are on the way. I'm going to use the mission builder as a map and the icons to help visualize what I'm talking about. While yes, this would be the same process for building the mission, it's not my intent, as I just want to show you how you can conduct some analysis as the first step to your reconnaissance mission. So let's say we have a mixed company of BMPs and tanks defending along this mobility corridor centered on this town that I can't pronounce. Unless they plan to stay awake for days on end at the ready, they will need someone out front to provide reaction time when the enemy, us, gets close. Let's drop these BMPs and tanks where we think they might occupy. Again, look at what I'm doing as if it was us analyzing the mission, not building a scenario. So let's assume they have 2 or 3 BRDMs set out front to provide that security screen I mentioned. They need to be far enough to provide some reaction, but close enough to get support from indirect assets and to get back to friendly lines before things go bad. On the terrain and indirect assets, we see that this is about as far as these guys can get while still being able to achieve the above requirements. So now that we have that spot on the map, where would you hide? It's got to provide some concealment, observation of the corridor, mutual fields of fire and observation, just a few of the many considerations. Now that we have assessed where we think the bad guys are, we build our plan. If we think that the enemy screen is situated here at this wooded area, then this becomes an NAI, or Named Area of Interest. Think of an NAI as an objective that we look at versus one that we assault. Sadly, DCS does a poor job of giving us tools and mission graphics to plan and explain missions without lots of screen grabs and PowerPoint. So in this case, I'm going to drop a waypoint there and brief it as our first NAI to observe. But what if I'm wrong? There's no guarantee the bad guys are there. So maybe we find a couple other spots they could be and drop NAIs there as well. We just keep checking until we find the guys we're looking for or we get lit up because they're somewhere we weren't expecting. So now that we've built our mission, we gotta go fly it. So let's talk about tempo. Here's the deal. Recon is a slow process. Don't just fly to the grid and look down. We gotta move deliberately. Find observation points to observe the NAI and verify it's empty before we move on to the next one.
Set left, stack right on these trees at my 12 o'clock.
Trust me, it's embarrassing to tell the ground force that a spot is clear, only to have it quite literally blow up in their faces a few minutes later. So after briefing Viking on the mission, we take off and attempt to locate the vehicles on the enemy screen. The intent is to maintain standoff, identify the estimated 3 BRDMs, and then engage. We plan to remain as far as possible from the enemy and use the terrain to mask our location.
Alright, 2, if you want to reposition, move forward. You're, looks like 1 o'clock. You got some opening there you can move up to.
Roger, 2 moving up. 2's in position.
Okay, roger. I've got nothing here. I'm going to go ahead and reposition my 10, 11 o'clock. See if I can't see down the road. Alright, one is set.
Roger, I repositioned east of my last position. I'm set now.
Roger. Alright, yeah, let's just go ahead and take a good look. Focused on that road, if you can see it.
Road at waypoint 2.
Affirm. And looks like there's some buildings kind of to the north of waypoint 2. If you could, from your angle, see if you can get a look in there.
Roger. Negative contacts from my position.
Roger. I'm just now setting my position. Stand by. And tally 1 vehicle. Stand by for grid. Check mail.
Received.
Yeah, it looks like one BRDM-2 in the tree line, oriented to the west. If you can scan north of that guy, I'm scanning south of him up the hill. I don't see any other contacts.
Roger, I'll check north. I'm gonna have to reposition further up this hill so I can get eyes on.
Roger.
Two set.
Okay, step by. And I've got Tally 1 BRDM next to some buildings.
Yeah, I just picked one up in some trees. I can't tell if it's the same one or not.
Okay. Is he north of the road, south of the road?
North of the road.
Okay, he must be a different guy because my guy's south of the road, the first guy.
Check mail.
Good mail. Okay, stand by, I'll send you mine. Check mail.
Good mail.
Alright, I'll tell you what, why don't you reposition back to where we broke off, back to the woods, so about 1 kilometer back to your left.
Roger.
And we'll just stack up back there and hopefully engage all these targets at once. Alright, I'm repositioning back to you.
Roger, choose a position.
See if you can identify that first target south of the road. I'll start with the guy by the buildings.
Roger.
I may not have a good angle on him from over here, we'll see.
The simultaneous engagement didn't go quite like I had intended, mainly because I suck, and I let my fingers make decisions instead of my brain. Still, take note that we masked our fires after identifying all the anticipated enemy forces in sector, so not to give anyone the chance to hide from us during the engagement.
Roger, do you want me to sit back here and bound up with you, or?
Nah, go ahead and rejoin.
Roger.
Realistically, yes, but I know there's nothing up here until we get to waypoint 3.
Alright.
At 20 times speed, you can see how we maneuvered to observe the entire NAI. We were slow, methodical, and using terrain to conceal us from observation as much as possible. A night sortie, of course, would be better for this type of operation, but harder to show in the video. We maintained situational awareness with each other's location through visual and digital means, and ensured we could observe the NAI while still in position to mutually support one another if we got into trouble. Once we were certain the entire NAI was reconned and the results matched what we expected from our mission analysis, we engaged with onboard weapons. If possible, use someone else's bullets first to save yours for future engagements as you continue mission. I hope this gives you some insight on how helicopters conduct recon at a high threat environment. If you have any comments or critiques, please drop them below. Throw me a like if you found the video useful, and we'll see you next time. Take care and fly safe.